I said, you know, this is not good timing for me. I have a thing called Iran and other things. That's one I can't win on. If I do attend, I get killed. If I don't attend, I get killed.
Reports and political speculation suggest that heightened tensions with Iran and ongoing security concerns may be influencing Donald Trump's personal schedule, including whether he attends his son's wedding. Trump has reportedly made comments suggesting he faces impossible choices over security risks, with dramatic remarks about potential assassination fears circulating in political commentary and media reports. The controversy comes amid unverified reports and claims suggesting Iranian-linked discussions about targeting U.S. leadership, which have intensified security narratives surrounding the president. Some reports and claims circulating online allege extreme proposals being discussed in Iranian political circles, including a controversial bounty-style incentive linked to U.S. leadership figures. Questions are now being raised in media commentary about whether past security scares involving major political events have contributed to heightened caution and fear among top U.S. political figures. Reports referencing a past security incident claim that chaos erupted during a high-profile political dinner event, where an armed individual allegedly caused panic inside the venue. According to these accounts, security teams quickly moved to evacuate Donald Trump from the location as authorities responded to the unfolding threat situation at the event.
Mr. President, in fact, on that...
attending your son's wedding this weekend, by the way?
He'd like me to go, but it's going to be just a small little private affair, and I'm going to try and make it. I'm in the midst. I said, you know, this is not good timing for me. I have a thing called Iran and other things. That's one I can't win on. If I do attend, I get killed. If I don't attend, I get killed. By the fake news, of course, I'm talking about. No, but he's got a very a person who I've known for a long time, and hopefully they're going to have a great marriage.
Trump sharply escalated tensions with Tehran after making fresh remarks on Iran's nuclear program. The US president claimed Washington would ultimately take control of Iran's enriched uranium reserves.
Can they keep their highly enriched uranium?
No, we get the highly enriched. We will get it. We don't need it. We don't want it. We'll probably destroy it after we get it, but we're not going to let them have it.
Trump's comments highlighted the deep divide as Iran continued to insist its nuclear program is peaceful. According to Reuters, Iran's leadership has ruled out transferring the country's uranium stockpile overseas. The growing standoff over uranium is now complicating Pakistan-backed efforts to reduce tensions. Iran's supreme leadership has effectively banned the shipping of near-weapons-grade uranium abroad, hardening wartime red lines around the nuclear file just as ceasefire diplomacy falters. According to informed sources, Mojtaba Khamenei has ordered that all 60% enriched uranium must remain inside Iran's borders, removing export from the list of acceptable compromise options. Iranian officials say there is now a consensus within the system that near-weapons-grade uranium stocks have to stay in the country, reflecting a shared elite view rather than a narrow factional stance. Behind the scenes, Tehran's power brokers reportedly fear that shipping uranium out would leave Iran more vulnerable to future US and Israeli strikes, stripping away a key deterrent and bargaining chip. Earlier in the talks, Iran had signaled that it might be willing to ship out up to half of its 60% stockpile, hinting at a more flexible position before the latest shift. Reports now suggest that Tehran's stance hardened after Trump repeatedly threatened new attacks, with leaders deciding that visible concessions under fire would only invite more pressure. Iranian sources maintain that feasible formulas still exist to avoid further escalation, arguing that diplomacy is not dead even if export of uranium is off the table for now. One option reportedly discussed involves diluting enriched material under International Atomic Energy Agency supervision, reducing its purity while keeping it on Iranian soil. Before the latest Iran war erupted, the IAEA estimated that Iran held around 440.9 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%, a stockpile large enough to remain central to every negotiation. Current reports estimate that a significant portion of the remaining material is still stored at facilities in Isfahan, one of Iran's core nuclear hubs. Additional highly enriched uranium is also believed to remain inside the Natanz complex, which has been at the heart of past sabotage, talks, and threats. Tehran continues to insist that these stocks are needed for medical isotopes and other peaceful research purposes, framing the program as a sovereign right under the NPT. Iran later denied the Reuters report claiming Mojtaba Khamenei had issued any directive regarding uranium. A senior Iranian official dismissed the report as enemy propaganda, aimed at derailing the negotiations. The official said Tehran still plans to downblend the enriched material on its own terms. Iran's foreign ministry also rejected claims that nuclear issues were formally included in talks with Washington. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Baghai said reports about enrichment and uranium transfers lacked credibility. Meanwhile, Al Jazeera reported that Iran and the US were nearing a deal and working on a draft agreement text.
The Vice President mentioned the other day there would be accommodations, they were willing to make accommodations with the Iranian deal. Could you kind of expand on those possible accommodations? Does that include...
When you say combination of what?
Accommodations, he's talking about accommodations as far as making the deal going. Would that include the
I can't tell you.
proxies?
Right now, we're negotiating, and we'll see. But either we're going to get it one way or the other. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. You know, when people hear it, because oftentimes they won't put up the second part of the sentence having to do with, I'll say, this is more important than anything that we have to talk about, and usually they'll cut it off, the fake news. I said, because this is the nuclearization of a country that some people would say is somewhat crazy, and we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all it is. We can't let it. You will have a nuclear war in the Middle East, and that war will come here. That war will go to Europe. We cannot let that happen, and it won't happen. It's not going to happen. That's more important than anything else. We can't. I can think of nothing that's more important than the fact that we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon, and we won't. Yeah, Jeff.
Following up on that, sir, Iran is negotiating with Oman to set up a formalization of charging tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. Is that acceptable to you?
Well, we're looking at it. We hear about it. They've negotiated. They've had a relationship with them before, and we'll see. We have total control of the Strait of Hormuz, as you know, with our blockade. The blockade's been 100% effective. Nobody's been able to get through. It's like a steel wall. It's our Navy. We have the greatest military anywhere in the world. We wiped out their Navy. We not wiped out their air. I think they're down to about, I would say we knocked out 85% of their missile capacity. It's very hard for them now to build missiles, to build drones. We have great drone technology, anti-drone technology now that frankly we didn't have even 2 months ago. We have unbelievable drone technology, both for making them and also for knocking them down. But look, we're going to either make sure they don't have a nuclear weapon, or we're going to have to do something very drastic. And the people of the country, I believe when it's put to the people of our country, they will all agree that we cannot let Iran have a nuclear
How do
weapon.
you want
Yes.
things to end up?
Daniel?
Let me just one follow-up on that. How do you want things to end up with the Strait of Hormuz, though? Would you like them to have
Well, we
control
want
of
it
that?
open. We want it free. We don't want tolls. It's international. It's an international waterway. They're not charging tolls. Right now, they are losing $500 million a day is what it's projected. I don't know, it sounds like a lot of money, but whether it's 500 or 200 or 300, they're losing a lot of money. There hasn't been a ship that's been able to get through without our approval. And the Navy has done an amazing job. And no ship is going to Iran, as you know. No ship is going to, or out of Iran without our approval.
On May 19th, President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held a tense phone conversation about a developing regional proposal. The discussion focused on a new plan involving several Arab and Muslim mediators, Axios reports. That framework was reportedly drafted by Qatar and Pakistan, with backing from Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Egypt. The proposal would formally end the war by arranging a US-Iran letter of intent to de-escalate hostilities. It would also launch a 30-day negotiation period to resolve disputes over Iran's nuclear activities and shipping routes. According to Axios, Netanyahu strongly opposed the framework during the call, warning against the terms. Israeli officials say Netanyahu argued military pressure should continue rather than offering concessions to Tehran. Bibi remained skeptical, pointing to previous negotiations with Iran that repeatedly failed, Israeli sources say.